Dr. Zelenko, I'm so honored to speak with you today. And actually, I'm very moved because in front of me, there is a text of a very interesting book, Essence to Essence.
Yeah, Rabbi, thanks for having me. So 2 years ago, when I was first round of when I got sick, I couldn't work for a year because of the treatments, and so I needed something to do. So I wrote two books. One is an autobiography called Metamorphosis. And that's an emotional book chronicling the discovery of faith. So this second book that I wrote, it's a mystical book based on Hasidic thought and Kabbalah, but more importantly, it's how it's applied to day-to-day life in every realm of life. So, for example, to economics, to science, to psychology, to medicine, and politics even. So it's because when you get to the core essence of everything, it runs on the same basic framework, which is this constant tension between chaos and order, and how we find ourselves right on the razor's edge between the two. And our job is to extract the best of both worlds. So we take the potential of chaos and we internalize it into the stability of order, and hence we refine the world in the process. But and that manifests itself on every realm, whether it's economics, or whether it's politics, or whether it's spirituality or psychology. So that's the underlying theme of the book. The book is called Essence to Essence, subtitle Life Through the Lens of Hasidic and Kabbalistic Wisdom. And it was written by me and my oldest son, Levi Yitzhak Zelenko. We worked on it for a year, and it was edited by my brother, Ephraim, your former student. Remember him?
What a question, of course, of course. I'm so happy. He's not former. Nobody's former. You know, the soul is eternal. It's just in the physical world, you know, the ex, right? You could say ex-KGB agent. But Talmidim Kruim Borim, students are children, so cannot be a former child, correct? It's all, a child is always a child. So do you mind then sharing a thought from this book?
Yeah. So in the introduction, actually in the inner flap, I write like this: "Let my soul be as dust to all." That the origin of that saying is from the Talmud, and the tractate that deals with brachas, and it's also included in the in everyday davening in the midah. But what does it mean? Let my soul be as dust to all. So I write here, this profound statement is layered with wisdom and meaning. So let's see what that wisdom is. The physical world is filled with a myriad of corrupting and parasitic influences from within and without. I mean, you don't have to look too far to see how there are parasites all over, whether it's COVID-19 parasites, these people that are sucking the blood out of innocent people for profit, or there are parasitic influences within the person, which is the propensity for self-destructive behavior, or behavior that's not oriented in a divine direction. So a person is being challenged from within and without. So the only way to thrive and prosper in such an environment, I mean, this is a real hostile and caustic, acidic environment, is very dangerous, is to be perpetually bound with one's source and purpose. In other words, if a person is constantly connected to his root, and also is more importantly connected to the purpose of his creation, that is a way to circumvent and navigate around or above these parasitic influences. So when the soul is connected to its root, meaning when the soul is connected to the essence of God, because ultimately the root of the soul is the essence of God, it is shielded from subjugation to finite creations such as space-time. In other words, space-time is before Einstein, we used to call space and time, but Einstein explains that this space-time is really one idea, and it represents limitation. We live within this realm, this finite system of worlds, and we navigate and live through all this finitude. But our essence is much higher than these limitations. So in reality, it's a complicated derivation, but in reality, our job is to use space-time as a tool to serve God and to sanctify the world. But the reality is that most people get enslaved to space-time. This physical world becomes their coffin. Not that they're using it as an instrument to serve God, but rather the materialistic pursuits and the darkness of this world, it becomes the coffin, the prison cell for the soul. Space-time is created. Why are the limitations of this world created? For the purpose of providing a matrix for man to serve his creator. In other words, we live now, Hashem created a stage, a system. God created this system where our soul is enclosed into a body. We have free choice and consciousness, and we have a stage upon which we can then actualize the will of God. Most of humanity has become enslaved to the limitations of the world instead of being their master. That's what I mentioned earlier. The only way to free oneself, how do we get out of prison? We're imprisoned. The only way to free oneself from the grasp of corrupting finitude, meaning again, space-time, the limitations of this world, is by developing a super-rational faith in the hidden essence of God and in the divine essence of one's soul. First of all, faith by definition is, faith begins where reason ends. And a person has to expand his mind, his rational mind, to the fullest capacity that he's capable of. And then after that point, faith begins. Like, I don't have to believe that you have a heart. That's something that I know, right? But belief is, in Jewish belief at least, is that there's ein od milvado, there's nothing but God. And what exactly does that mean? So that falls into the realm of belief. So you have to know what to know, and you have to know what to believe in. So in this particular case, how do we break out of this finite dark world? Is by developing a supra-rational faith. Again, a faith that's higher than intellect. And what are you believing in? In the hidden essence of God, that God is always present, he's everywhere, and then that his essence is hidden and it transcends all limitations, whether the physical, the spiritual, the finite, or the infinite. God, Hashem, God, he transcends all these limitations. And in the divine essence of one's soul. And then the second aspect of our belief, it's not something we can prove, it's something that we believe, that our soul is a derivative of God's essence. So here's the punchline. By connecting your essence with God's essence, your soul becomes ungraspable. Like I quoted in the beginning, just like dust, you can't fully capture it. It falls in between the fingers. Your soul becomes ungraspable by the perversion and the corruption of this world and attains true freedom. It is my hope that this book will arouse and reveal your quintessential bond with God. This is a bracha that I hope that this book is able to reveal how your essence is really one with God's essence. And that's why I called it Essence to Essence.
It's unbelievable. I want to thank you. And actually, maybe with your permission, share a thought I heard from my